Okay, welcome aboard to the final lecture of THE 1515, that is Christian Ethics. This will be the final lecture for the semester. And our final lecture will be dealing with ministerial ethics, a guide for spirit-filled leaders. The author is T. Borden Pierce. And we only retrieved one chapter of this book. And this is the Ministers, chapter 9 of the book, Ministers and Their Peers, Maintaining Professional Relationships. Okay? Maintaining personal relationships is simply 13 pages. So you can browse it and read it, as you review for the final exam. The important thing is we are now in the application of what we learn, of Christian ethics. As what Dr. Ezekiel Adijuan in his lecture this afternoon, early evening, that Christian ethics is not merely academical, but it is a way of life. That's a good emphasis there. It's not for cognitive or intellectual exercise. It is better to think of Christian ethics as way of life. Parte na ng ating pang-araw-araw na buhay. Hindi yung dito lang, academic exercise or cognitive exercise. Okay, we'll deal first with our relationship with our predecessor. So when we are assigned in a church, we have our predecessor. Meron tayong pinalitan. Yung pinalitan natin, that's our predecessor. Unless you are the first pastor in the church, galing sa pagka-plant nito, ikaw yung pioneer pastor. Yung papalit sa'yo, that's your successor. And then someone will be assigned in place of you. So the one you are now the predecessor. Pagpalagay natin tayo yung newly assigned and we have a predecessor. What's our relationship? What's our ethical relationship with the predecessor? First, we never express negative comments from our predecessor. Never. As you noticed, he was the former pastor. We would assume that there are people who are close to him or her. And let's watch our mouth. Let's temper our speech not to air out negative comments. Ganyan, naririnig mo lang yan kasi eh. No? That's a good start. Make a connection with the predecessor because your predecessor is one of your sources, your ministry. Okay? Number two, we would learn from our predecessor about his or her successes or strengths. Sa kanyang isang taon, halimbawa, o 2 taon, meron na dagdag na 3 pamilya. Bakit? Dumami ang mga young people. Bakit? Ayun. We should know. We should learn from our predecessor. We are not dealing with our predecessor's weaknesses and failures here. Okay? We are dealing with our predecessor's strengths and successes. Okay? Number 3. Don't get jealous with your predecessor. Don't get jealous. Na you couldn't avoid people talking about him or her. That they love your predecessor so much. They really would talk about his or her successes and strengths. So you're left out. Hindi ka naka-receive ng praises from your members. Do not get jealous. Be happy. Kasi meron kang source. Meron kang malalaman. Otherwise, kung failure yung predecessor mo, it's all right. Don't deal with the failure of your predecessor. Number 4, you should get in touch with your predecessor. Bago ka pa lang. Ako, yun ang gawa ko eh. Gusto kong makausap yung predecessor ko. Magtatanong talaga ako kasi wala akong kaalam-alam sa bago kong destino. Sino nakakaalam? Yung predecessor ko. Huwag kang mag-group to the unknown. Dapat meron kang idea. The best person, not the DS, okay? The best person to deal with that about your new assignment is your predecessor. Marami kang malalaman talaga niyan. Befriend him. Befriend him. Kahit hindi mo siya trip o hindi mo siya kaibigan. Establish friendship. So, get in touch with your predecessor and build relationship. Marami ka talagang malalaman. Pambihira na siguro yung gumagawa ng ganyan ngayon. Hindi ko na kailangan predecessor. Naisip mo pa, mas magaling ka sa kanya eh. Okay? Merong suggestion sa page 184 ng chapter 9 sa librong ito, Ministerial Ethics, a guide for spirit-filled leaders. Na invite mo siya. Let me read it to you categorically sa 184. Make every reasonable effort to keep in touch with your predecessor as a person with whom you have much in common. Your conversation should never center on the negative aspects of your ministries. Invite your predecessor back to the pulpit from time to time. I will never recommend that. I'm against the author of the book. I will never invite my predecessor to preach. Akin yun. You are not required to agree with me. You can agree with the author here. Yun ang seminary. It's a market of ideas. Hindi lahat paniniwalaan mong professor mo. Okay? Pero may mga tanong sa final exam na kailangan tama yung sagot mo. In your own opinion, nasa professor ng bias doon. Okay? Depende sa rason mo. Yes, I will invite my predecessor for the following reasons. Blah, blah, blah. Alright? Depende sa rason mo yan. Why? What's my reason? We're not doing that. Okay? Tapos na siya eh. Ikaw na ngayon ang driver. Huwag mo na ibalik yung o strengthen lang loyalty ng mga tao sa kanya. Dapat sa'yo na nakasentro. What for? Ako, inin nakalagay kasi rito, you invite your predecessor from time to time to preach. Ikaw mag-invite. How about a member inviting your predecessor? Ibang ano yun? Ibang usapan yun. Okay? That's another discussion. We're dealing with you inviting your predecessor to preach. One time, I was assigned, ito yung pinaka-bulwark ng Methodism sa Kidapawan, itong Branscombe Memorial United Methodist Church. 2019, ako ang newly assigned pastor. Yung dating pastor, DS. Meron kaming member na yung anak niya nasa Los Angeles, California. Tapos, the father of the family had this death anniversary. Nagpresenta siya na siya mag-preach. Nagpresenta sa akin through messenger. Nag-message siya eh. Kasi simula ko pa lang ha, parang July. Kasi ang ano niya, sinabihan daw siya ng anak sa California na siya mag-preach. Ang sagot ko, Pastor, I'm sorry. I'm acquainting with the family, I'm acquainting myself with the family. Hayaan mo na ako na. Ano pang rason niyo? Bakit pa siya pa ang pambihira? Dati kang pastor, nagpresenta ka na mag-preach sa death anniversary ng miyembro. Kahit diis ka pa, di ba? No. Sabi ko, no. You cannot do that. Kasi may mga loyalty pa eh. May mga loyal na members yan. Kasi yan, magbibigay ng love gift yan, napakalaki. Thousands yan, yung love gift na yan. Alam ko dahil mayaman, may kaya, ganun. Dalasan yan ganyan eh. Mga babalik-balikan ng mga predecessor, yung mga mayayaman. Pag makakuha ng bigas, pera, ano pang favor, di ba? Request to visit unless invited siya ng member, okay yun. Pero kailangan the predecessor should contact you, asking for permission. Pwede bang magbisita, pastor? Sa mayaman mong miyembro, ganun. Pero i-discourage mo na. I-discourage mo na yun. Pwede ka isa lang, tapos nun, sabihin mo na, no, unethical. May pastor na eh. Ba't ka, ano pang kailangan mo sabihin? Okay? So, that's it for relationship with, ngayon, relationship with successor. This is the case. Ethical relationship with your successor. Umalis ka na, linipat ka na. Yung bagong assigned pastor sa simbahan na yon ang successor mo. So, iba, nag-retire ka na or else na-transfer ka sa ibang church. Okay? You have a successor. And you have a relationship with that successor. In ministerial ethics. Okay, number 1. Avoid being invited by former members. Avoid. Pastor, pwedeng ikaw magbinyag ng anak ko, pwedeng ikaw magkasal ng anak ko. Pastor, birthday ko bukas, pwede ka. Sabihin mo, may pastor na po kayo. Successor ko yon. Hindi na ako pastor nyo. Tapos na ang responsibility ko sa inyo. Okay? Avoid. Because it's unethical. It is very unethical. Pag sinabi mo, okay, mamaalam muna kayo sa pastor nyo. No. Tell them bluntly, hindi ako ang pastor nyo. Meron na kayong bagong pastor. Number 2, gradually, hinay-hinay. Disconnect your contact. Iba, mga nalipat na pastor sa mga dati nilang miyembro, nakikipag-text, nakikipag-messenger, humihingi ng bigas, humihingi ng pera, umuutang. Attorney, malapit na palang harvest time dyan sa inyo. Pwedeng makahingi ng isang sakong bigas. Disconnect mo na yan. You're no longer the pastor. You have a successor. Ha? Disconnect na, pati pagbibisita mo. Unless emergency. Pero let's define emergency visits. Yon, namatayan. Pero magpaalam ka. Punta ka sa parsonage. Huwag yung lang, text-text lang. Or, punta ka talaga personal. Hapit sa parsonage. Pastor, magbisita ko sa namatyan. Membro nimo. Hindi mo na membro yon. Alam mo, intention nun? It's a detriment to your successor. It will be to one's disadvantage of your successor. Lalo na pag meron pang mga loyalist mo doon. Di naman ibig sabihin na Number 5. Number 3. Always ask your successor if the family wanted you to speak in the funeral or necrological service. Huwag kang magpresenta. Hintayin mo na imbitahan ka. Hindi ng pastor, imbitahan ka ng miyembro mo. Magpaalam ka. Sinabi ng ikaw naman, anong sinabi ng successor mo? Pag sinabi niyang no, tulad ko, sinabi ko talaga yung no, yung aking predecessor dahil nagpresenta, gusto niyang mag-preach sa death anniversary. Sabi ko, no. Ako na po ang pastor, bahala na po ako roon. Gusto kong makipag-acquaint muna. Gusto kong maging close sa family. Lalo ngayon, the time of need for their loved one who passed away. Simula noon, wala na siyang contact. Napahiya eh. Lakas ng apog. So always ask your successor if the family wanted you to speak in the funeral or necrological service. Pati kasal. Kung may lisensya yung successor mo, meron po kayong sabihin mo nila, meron po kayong pastor, pero ikaw gusto namin magkasal. Uy, unethical po yun. Kasi magsiselos yung successor mo, yung mga gawain mong ganyan. Meron ka ng destino, ba't di po pakialam ang destino mo? Number 4, pray for the success of your successor. Meron akong babasahin. Ask yourself, ikaw na nalipat na, if you really want the new pastor to succeed, gusto mo ba na mag-succeed yung successor mo? More importantly, do you want the church you left behind to prosper? Gusto ba mag-prosper yung na, na na iniwan mo na church? Gusto mo? Kung gusto mong hindi mag-prosper, sirain mo. Makialam ka sa dati mong destino. Mas magaling ka man kaya. Kung gusto mong masira at ayaw mo mag-prosper, evil's advocate ka na talaga eh. Yan, karamihang pastor ganyan. Tapos, isa pa. To what degree should they stay in touch with members of the church you are leaving? Kailan mo titigilan yung pagkokontak mo sa mga dati mong miyembro? Sagot dyan ngayon na. Today, you will be with me in paradise. Today. Now. Disconnect yourself. No more contact. Wag mong patulan. Merong napamahal na siya, ayaw niya matanggap na malipat na siya. Hindi talaga siya umalis, na-split ang church. Yun ang mga sinasabi kong, do you really want the church you left behind to prosper or to succeed? Kung ayaw mo, wag ka nang umalis ka na sa church mo, gawa ka ng sarili mo, dami mong loyalist sa dati mong destino, ganun. Na-split yung church dahil ayaw ng pastor na yon na malipat siya, kaya nakipagkompetensya sa kanyang successor. Kaya salamat na lang, mayroong ministerial ethics. Okay? And number five, provide heads up to your successor. Bago ka umalis, sumulat ka na the praise and worship needs a singer, ganun, a lead singer. We need a drummer, ganun, yung para malaman ng successor mo na give alalay to the keyboard player because he's not active in the church. Always visit him. Mga ganun. Yung mga heads up. The chairperson of the council is new, so always visit him. Ganon, yung mga heads up. Sabihin mo yung mga dapat malaman ng successor mo. Huwag mong itatago. Next, relationship, ethical relationship with A troubled neighboring church. Pag-usapan na natin ito noon through a situationer. Merong isang simbahan na alliance, ikaw ay Pentecostal, troubled yung alliance. Nagkahati-hati, may problema sa pastor, mga ibang miyembro, kahit saan na nagsisimba. Huwag kang makialam. Do not despise the church or the pastor of that church or the members. No comment ka lang. Huwag kang makialam. Hindi mo yung simbahan. Number two, if you notice that new members, new faces came to your worship on a Sunday, alam mo na galing doon sa troubled neighboring church galing yun. Be prepared. Number two, be prepared with an ethical approach to those members of the troubled neighboring church. Kasama mo yan sa denomination or ibang denomination. Afterwards, i-welcome mo sila. Okay, do not mention na sila. No, i-welcome lang. After worship, talk to them. Talk to them. Sabihin mo na may relationship ka sa pastor nila. Hindi ka basta-basta tatanggap. Kasi okay lang pag pag bago talaga, walang simbahan, ganun. Pero meron silang simbahan, nagkagulo lang. And your goal there is for them to return to their church or ka-alliance yan, halimbawa sa city proper, pwede sila sa pinakamalapit na barangay, alliance din. Encourage mo sila. Actually, ikaw, Pentecostal ka o kaya Methodist ka. Hindi ka naman alliance. Hindi ka naman ikaw nag-convert sa kanila. Proselyting ang tawag dyan pag tinanggap mo eh. So that's your goal. And then, number three, tawagan mo yung pastor or visit the pastor. Mas maganda, visit face to face. Kapitbahay mo yung o kahit hindi kapitbahay, kabilang barangay, alam mo naman eh. Na alliance sila, ganun. O kaya Forest Square sila, Victory Chapel sila, nagbrowse yan sila. Pero hindi mo sila convert. Ibang pastor na alliance talaga sila. Iba ang doktrina ng alliance kaysa sa atin o sa inyo. Sino ka natatanggap agad sa kanila? Talk to the pastor. Sabihin mo, yung membro mo pumunta sa akin, sinabihan ko na hindi ako tatanggap ng ano. Okay? Still, your goal is to bring them back sa alliance. Kung yung UCCP ka, Methodist yung nagsimba sa'yo, sabihin mo, iba yung Methodist sa UCCP. Baka sabihin mo, okay lang, pare-pareho lang, UMC saka Methodist, pare-pareho lang yan, pareho sila na member ng NCCP, National, naku, proselyting na ang labas nito. Pero pag sinabi ng pastor cleared na sila, they have aired out their final decision na umalis na sa aming church and I placed them under transfer. Yun, okay na yun. Ask for clear transferred certificate, no? Transferred out. Kung ganon, yun ang ethical way. Alright? Salamat sa ministerial ethics. Buti na lang, ano? So to receive a family from troubled neighboring church without attempting to help them to return home or without contacting their pastor is a serious violation of ministerial ethics. Serious. Why? It's proselyting. Kadami-dami ng mga tao, ba't yung pang, huwag kang mag-aagaw. In the first place, hindi naman sila pareho mo ng ano, baka problema lang yan sa church mo dahil iba yung kanilang doktrina. Baka problema rin nila doon, tatanggapin mo lang, nako, ikaw magkakaproblema ngayon. Thanks to ministerial ethics, di ba? Okay, relationship with fellow ministers in your community. Let's assume you are new to the community, you are new to your church, and you need to ask kung meron bang ministerial fellowship. And you need to join. But you have the freedom not to join. Hindi mo makita yung advantage, ha? Sa akin, nakikita ko talaga yung kahalagahan ng ministerial fellowship. Kadalasan dyan, ang tingin mo sarili mo, ikay walang maliligtas. Kaya ang tingin mo sa ibang mga denominasyon, hindi ligtas. Kaya ayaw mong sumali. Ganun yan eh. Mga ultra-conservative na mga Christians. Pero kadalasan, sumasali yan. Sumasali yan. So first is you need to inquire. Meron ba? Okay, magbisita ka ng isang ibang church o denomination. Inquire. Pakilala ka, pastor. Ako ang bagong dyan sa Forest Square. Ako ang pastor dyan ngayon. Meron bang ministry? Meron. Si ang presidente? Yan yung dyan sa River of God Gospel Church. Yan ang presidente namin, si Juan de la Cruz. Si Reverend Juan de la Cruz. Binata pa yan, pero 55 years old. Blessed singleness. Tapos, next will be number 2, participate. Participate. Why? You can apply ministerial ethics. Can fellowship with other pastors. Can have friends. Support group. Okay? May mga inter-church fellowship. Dawn prayer, samahan ng mga pastor or iba't ibang churches. Okay? So, iba talaga pag may kausap kang mga ibang ministers. May kaibigan kang ibang Maganda. Experience ko yan. The best talaga. Walang siraan, ganyan. Mas may siraan pa sa kayo-kayo ng mga kasama mong pastor sa denomination mo. Grabe bang politics dyan. Grabing siraan, inggitan. Pero sa ministerial fellowship, iba't ibang denomination. Napaka plain and simple na mga tao. Huwag mo lang ipakita na mas magaling ka o mas banal ka. Unethical yan. Okay, yun ang chapter 9. Importante yan that we can apply. Remind yourself about your relationship with your predecessor, of your successor, of your... Kasi, ewan ko, ang sa atin, napapansin ko sa karamihan ng pastor, gustong-gusto talaga na May magsimba na bago ni hindi pa nila kausapin. Tuwa agad dahil akala niya may bago na siyang membro. Hindi ikaw ang nag-convert ng mga yan. May denomination yan. Kung Baptist, nako, iba ang doktrina ng mga Baptist. Nako, magdidebate lang kayo niyan. Balik mo sila. Mas maganda yon. Sipin mo yun. It's not your member. I-discourage mo siya na magpa-member sa'yo. And don't encourage them just to attend your worship. Makinig lang kayo. Hindi ko kayo tatanggapin na kausapin mong pastor. Huwag mong i-tolerate yung... Hindi ko naman sila tinanggap pero nagsisimba sila. Unethical pa rin yan, kapatid. Ang dami nating mga breach or violation ng ministerial ethics. Sinasaktan natin yung kapwa natin pastor. So pagka-selfish natin para tayo ang hari sa kingdom of God na tayo lang totoo. And we are justifying our reason that we are correct, that we are right. Pero sa ministerial ethics, it's very clear. Kapag hindi mo sila hindi mo kinausap ang pastor nila, that's a serious violation of ministerial ethics, a serious breach. Okay, pumunta tayo sa last two topics natin. Alam niyo yung prevention is better than cure, ha? Bago pa mangyari, meron na tayong gagawin. Preempting, tawag dyan. Preempt. Mga precautionary measures. Ang kadalasan na number one offense ng pastor, specifically lalaki na pastor, male pastors, matukso sa babae. Bago pa mangyari yan, we have precautionary measures. Prevention is better than cure. Kaya pag-usapan natin to. Never kang mag-counseling o makiusap sa babae kahit may asawa na kayo lang dalawa. Lalo sa loob ng church, kayo lang ng dalawa, okay lang pag merong mga kasamahan doon. Pero kung kayo na lang dalawa, o nagbisita ka, yung misis lang nandun, huwag kang papasok. Sabihin mo next time na lang pag andyan si mister. So pwede, may kasama kang babae. O may kasama yung And never close the door. Open yan para makita kayo. Una yan, conversation. Dalawa lang kayo eh. That's called preemption. Bago pa may mangyari, magkainlaban, both of you are married, o single ka lang, iwasan mo yun. Sabi nga ng Ilonggo, tagipusoon ta karton, hindi unod iya, maay na siya ma-inlove ang atong tagipusoon, hindi na iya karton. No iya, ma-inlove pa sina daw, maski na daw, minyo ka na haw. Oh, my girlfriend ka na, mangita ka pa sang lain. And you're a pastor. You're a pastor. So when you talk to an opposite sex, see to it that you're more than that. Hindi lang siya, may kasama. Okay? And a safety space ang tawag doon, yung meron siyang kasama. O kaya nakikita kayo, malapit lang. Hindi yung nasa kabilang building, yung ibang tao. No, sa loob ng building. Sa church, sa parsonage, sa bahay nila. Huwag lang kayong dalawa. And then, never tolerate na may lalapit sa'yo na babae, single or married, na may request. Iwasan mo yun. Iwasan mo talaga. Pastor ka eh. Kahit na single-single, pastor ka eh. Pag hindi ka pastor, sige. The first place, ano ka? Servant of God. So never visit a member who is in the opposite sex. Regardless of, age, or regardless na married ba siya, single ba siya. Ano pa? Ano pang madagdag nyo? Preempting extra marital relationship. Yung mga basic. Kasi ano yan, let's maintain our integrity as servants of God. Kung pwede lang talaga, iwasan natin yung magkasala tayo. Iwasan natin yan. Iwasan talaga natin yun. Yeah, may married na pastor nakipagrelasyon sa worship leader ng praise and worship na dalaga. Tapos yung dalaga na yun ng lead singer ng praise and worship, meron pang boyfriend. Yung boyfriend niya pa kasama niya sa praise and worship team. May hawak ng keyboard. Nagkagusto sa'yo, pinatulan mo naman. Discourage that. Otherwise, di mo pigilan, magpalipat ka ng destino. Palipat ka ng destino or ano pa ba? Ikaw mismo mag-volunteer. May namumuo ng damdamin. You don't deserve to continue. Gusto mo na rin siya eh dahil nag-flirt na eh. Never tolerate that. Okay? Okay, dalawang bagay na lang ito yung about pera. Financial responsibility. Financial responsibility. Okay? Never allow your wife or the member of your family to be the treasurer of the church. O never allow yourself to intervene sa mga about pera. Eventually talaga, that financial responsibility should pass on to a church member na hindi mo kapamilya. Kasi matutokso ka lang. Magamit mo yung pera eh. Okay? So, sa pastor, iwasan talaga natin yung ano, yung may mga pambihira na naman yun dahil pastor nga, sinesweldohan lang, binibigyan ng support. Hanggang doon lang. Huwag kang ano. And please avoid yung magkautang-utang tayo. Let's avoid that. Pastor, nagkautang-utang. May mga pastor na ganyan talagang monetary problems ha. Daming utang. Wag. Kunti lang sweldo natin, hindi tayo makabayad ng utang. Unless meron tayong lupa, meron tayong inaasahan na other income, ganun. Meron tayong palayan or ano pa na nag-i-income, other business, ganyan. So iwasan natin talaga yung ano. Okay. This ends the lecture on the final lecture on Christian ethics for the first semester.